Hello everyone and welcome back to Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Trials and Tribulations. Uh, I was not meant to do I was going to do a stream today, and then I woke up and felt like death, and then I had a long nap, had a meal, and feel much better, so I thought we'd try and squeeze a short stream in. So we were at the point of Edgeworth being an attorney, bestowed the attorney badge by Phoenix, who is, definitely not dying in the hospital. And now we have to save this. Well, she looks like Dahlia Hawthorne. We're not sure if she is. Why Phoenix would want to defend her, who knows? But I guess we're going to figure out. And hi Belladane, and hi Phoenix. I'm sorry. I was usually what I like to do is set up, and then as we are starting, I like to let it run for a little bit, just to make sure, and then get all my stuff ready, like refill my drink, and make sure that I don't have to go to the bathroom for a whole session. So, without further ado, let's go. Hopefully that's coming through okay. Well, hopefully my vocals will be okay.
Oh my. Mr. Larice feels that way about me?
Apparently, he isn't aware of your real secret at all. This is no time to be embarrassed.
I'm sorry. I'm just hardly accustomed to that sort of thing.
Or not. There will be a stream tomorrow. It will be Falsebound Kingdom, so Yu-Gi-Oh! Falsebound Kingdom. Probably finishing off that. We'll do a long one tomorrow. We'll probably combine the Thursday stream and the Falsebound Kingdom from what was going to be tomorrow. So it'll be Falsebound Kingdom, Half-Life, and then Paper Mario probably. We'll do a long stream there instead. It's just so because I'd rather get all my streaming done in 2 days, earlier in the week, so I can set aside what I want to do later on, maybe on the weekend. I don't know. I like to get ahead of stuff. I don't like leaving stuff. I feel bad if I do. But anyway, worry not. In any case, whatever it is that he saw on the night of the incident, mark my words, I will drag it out of him.
Does that mean Mr. Larice is the witness today?
Most likely. No. I believe that none will be the first to take the stand.
Sister Bikini.
Yeah, if you want, yeah, it all depends. If you want to, it's fine. She claims to have seen the very instant in which you carried out the crime. I just want to ask you one last time. It really wasn't you who killed Mr. Elise. I've still not looked up how to pronounce that last name. Is it like Janim? I don't know if you pronounce the X or not. Correct? I'm going to continue with my guess pronunciation.
That's correct. It wasn't me.
Well, she's not lying, and you have the Magatama, so it means she's not lying. Very well then.
Mr. Edgeworth?
Yes?
You're a prosecutor, aren't you? Are you sure about this? If your true identity is revealed.
Don't worry, I've made the necessary arrangements. Really? So every policeman, so these two guys here, they don't know who you are. Every one of the jury, anyone in the jury who's sitting in the gallery doesn't know who you are. You know, Francisca. Because we know, I mean, we let it out of the bag. We all know who it's gonna be. There's one more prosecutor that's in this game. Iris? Just the thing of, no one knows who Edgeworth is apparently, despite being a top-notch prosecutor, who would have been on trial 2 years ago, depending on when this game is released. Or in timeline, when this game was, you know, when the timeline was, because it was, what, 2 years ago that he got accused of murder, and we found out it was Von Karma. Anyway, it's a prosecutor's job to doubt people. But right now, I am a defense attorney.
A defense attorney's job is to believe in people?
Oh, sorry, I thought it was Irish because her finger was changing. A defense attorney's job is to believe in people, and to believe until the bitter end. That's what my friend told me once.
Mr. Edgeworth.
I simply ask that you watch and decide for yourself whether or not I am fit to do the task I have been entrusted.
Very well, sir. I'll leave my defense in your capable hands.
Well, here we go. Lucky number 7. Well, I guess they could always just reverse flip Edgeworth's thing since he does have a very symmetrical face. What voice did I give this guy? I believe I went low and basically tried to do the unmuffled version because he's got a nice ring, nice little bit of, you know, he's either got really massive lips, which really weirds me out now, looking at him again, or he's just got, you know, no facial hair clouding his voice. So, the court is now in session for the trial of Sister Iris of Hazakura Temple. Weird to see Edgeworth on this side of the I don't know, the court. The defense is ready, Your Honor. The defense does indeed appear to be ready. However, the same cannot be said for the prosecution in this case. Indeed. I'm not sure I like such a blatant waste of the court's time. An empty prosecutor's chair can only mean that the prosecutor has no confidence in their ability to prove the case. Or they just slept in and they're really not good at their job. Could be that. It would seem this case is already over before it has a chance to begin. I am ready to announce my verdict at this time. This court finds the defendant. It's your girl. Now, I can't remember the Francisca voice, but I'm going to try.
The prosecution stands ready.
And you are?
Francisca von Karma, prosecuting prodigy.
Von Karma, you say? Perchance we wouldn't be of any relation to the legendary prosecutor Manfred von Karma.
Legends are a thing of the past. I'm a von Karma, that is all. Upon a special request, I flew in today for the purposes of prosecuting this case. I mean, I want to know how Edgeworth, you know, eked that out. How was he able to get someone just to, you know, just about get it, just to, you know, just get a prosecutor onto the case out of nowhere, who was in a completely different country at the time. You did? Then you must be quite a big shot, eh? By the way, Mr. Edgeworth. Yes, Your Honor? I'm almost certain I've seen you before, somewhere before, or am I just imagining things? You look very much like a prosecutor I met once. I believe you are imagining things, Your Honor. Ms. von Karma, do you have anything to say? There is no such weakling as this man amongst those in the prosecutor's office.
There isn't, but I'm sure, once before the
I told you, there is no such weakling.
Oh, what is that? A whip? I'm not sure I care for such a thing in my courtroom. Bailiff, remove that whip. I have no objection to the whip. Damn right he doesn't. Hey, whatever proclivities you have, as long as they're legal, I'm completely fine with it, Edgeworth. You do you. You don't? prosecution can wield a whip or drink 17 cups of coffee. But there is still only one truth. That is what I stand here to prove today.
This promises to be interesting, Miles Edgeworth. I had expected to face Phoenix Wright here today. But looking at you now, maybe this is what I have been...
Holding a burp back, I apologize.
Maybe this is what I've been waiting for all this time. Miles Edgeworth, I will not allow this chance to crush you slip through my fingers.
Oh, he's feeling confident. He's doing the hair flicks. I see you brought your flair for the histrionic. I know what that word means, of course. Allow me to add to the things I'm not sure about. People acting bizarrely in my courtroom.
The stage is set. Now continue your proceedings, Your Honor.
Histrionic. I want a definition if you would be so inclined. Google. Of or relating to actors or acting excessively dramatic or emotional. Yep, alright. Fits Von Karma to a T. I mean, well, we did see a break eventually. You know, in the last game. Very well, Miss Von Karma. Please give an outline of this case. With as little whipping as possible.
The murder victim is the famed picture book author Miss Elise Dunim. Her body was found at Hazakura Temple. Her body was found in the Hazakura Temple courtyard. She had been stabbed through the torso by a ceremonial sword from a golden statue.
The sword in this picture is the weapon in question, correct? Very well, the court accepts this photo of the crime scene.
There is no mistake. This was the doing of Sister Iris. After all, there is a witness to her crime.
Very well. Please bring this witness to the stand. I don't know how I feel about Edgeworth scowling why he's here. Although I do appreciate the little attorney's badge they put on him. They could have just, flipped his model over. And it would have been a lot easier. But they put a little bit of effort in adding the attorney's badge. And so it begins. My first and last trial as a defense attorney. Well, you shouldn't be saying that. You never know what might come up in the future. I don't believe he does have another attorney. Yeah, Mirrored Edgeworth is weird. But I do appreciate the little degree of detail they put in. I mean, to be fair, it's weird seeing anybody on the opposite side of the stand to where you normally see them. There's a... What's it called? There's an effect where if you see something for like a long enough time in one area, when it gets moved, it looks different. I can't remember what it's called.
Witness, state your name and occupation, please.
Oh, hold on there. I'm not sure about being not sure if I care for this at all. Witness, please stand up and nice and straight. Now we're gonna need the crates. If I recall correctly, there are a few milk crates in the defendant's lobby for our back pain-plagued witness. Bailiff, fetch a crate for this poor lady, please. You know, you can't help it if she is a... Well... How would I go about calling her? I mean dwarf? I guess that's the correct term. That's not going to get me thrown off Twitch for being a bit not politically correct.
Once again, your name and occupation, please.
Now I give her an old woman voice. I wasn't happy about it, but I've got nothing else that comes to mind, so I'm going to keep it.
Little old me? Well, I'm the head nun of Hazakura Temple on Eagle Mountain. My name is Bikini. You got it? Bikini. Nice to meet you, everyone.
But you don't appear to be wearing a bikini right now.
Nor do I want to see it. At all. At any time in the future.
This courtroom is the garden of holy judgment. Those with lechery in their hearts should leave this sanctuary at once.
Well, I guess you just got fought patrolled. By Von Karma, at least.
You want me to leave?
No need to get your bikinis in a twist. Let me tell you, I'm a sight to behold in summer.
Yes, like a beached whale. In any case... Witness, I heard that you saw the crime take place on the night in question.
That's right. I can still hardly believe it myself, to be honest. There's no way dear little Iris could do anything like that.
Let us hear what you have to say then.
Oh, that reminds me, I won't have to do the judge's voice anymore because he'll be doing the trial, won't he? Unless they switch judges, which I don't know if they do. It wouldn't make sense to switch judges because you need to be familiarized with the whole case, but it could happen.
First, tell us about your own movements then that night, eh?
I refuse to do a Canadian accent because I don't want to insult you all. Well, I've said before, I'll insult half of Canada, the part that's not British.
That's nice. I was helping an acolyte with her training in the inner temple, but, well, as you can see, my back likes to act up. Violently. So I left Iris to help the acolyte and returned to Hazakura Temple. There's no bath at the inner temple, you see, and I needed a long hot soak. It was after I had finished, just as I was heading back. That's when I saw it.
So it was simply coincidence that you found yourself returning to Hazakura Temple?
Yes, you could say that. If my back hadn't been in so much pain, I would have stayed at the inner temple.
Ah, debilitating back injuries. Me sitting in this chair, looking at Sister Bikini, like looking in a mirror to the future. That sounds like a pretty important statement she just made.
There is only one with this testimony one problem with this testimony that I can see. And you're not about to fall at the first hurdle now, are you, Miles Edgeworth?
Mr. Edgeworth, you may begin your cross-examination.
And proceed. As we always do, press everything for the maximum amount of dialogue. What is it? God damn it. Never mind. Doesn't matter. Something got in the back of my throat. What is this inner temple?
Well, you see, conversing with the spirits is what we train people to do, right?
We'll be the ones asking you the questions, madam.
In order to do that, a place strong in spiritual power is required.
I feel like I'm like Dumbledore explaining Hogwarts to the kids on the first day.
There's a small temple across Dusky Bridge called the Inner Temple. Acolytes must spend an entire night there to undergo intense training.
And how exactly do you help with this process?
It is quite exacting. It can't be performed without a nun supervising. Like a tutor watching to make sure a spoiled child studies.
A tutor with a whip, in your case. Well, if she had her whip, what did Von Karma use as... I don't know, what would you call it? I was gonna say, you know, what's the word for giving someone a bit of, motivation? That was it. If that is the case, then why did you return to Hazakura Temple, where the murder took place? Okay, back was acting up. Violently?
That's right, it's no laughing matter, especially in winter. I can't hold anything heavier than a knife and fork during the cold months. Just like being alive is like strict training.
On the night of the murder, was this fabulous back of yours hurting again?
That's right, raging like a bull in a pig pen. I almost fainted once or twice. I knew that unless I warmed it up, it was going to finally finish me off.
Well, nothing sounds, you know, out of place so far, so I left Iris and helped the Acolyte and returned to the temple. How did you help the Acolyte? Because I believe that Maya is still stuck over there. You left Iris to help? With what?
What do you think? The Acolyte's training, of course. It was just past 10 p.m., so we were starting to enter into the training exercises proper.
Wasn't it your place to remain with the disciple?
Well, the job is simply to watch over the Acolytes so they don't pass away.
Just to confirm this point again, that night, you met Iris in the inner temple, correct?
Yes, she's a gentle and honest girl. She's never once failed to follow in my directions.
There's no bath in the inner temple, you see, so I needed a long hot soak. Okay, and I think this is where we're going to probably poke holes, but I might be wrong. So you returned to Hazakura Temple in order to take a bath.
My back is to blame for everything. It's a do or be done in kind of world after all.
How long were you in the bath for, if you don't mind me asking? Interesting. Yep, that's exactly where my mind was going, Sister Bikini.
My, what a filthy little rogue you are. I know that's what's on your mind.
Believe me, if I wanted to see what a naked thumb looked like, I'd look at my hand.
I bet your next question is going to be, where exactly did you wash?
Oh, I feel uncomfortable.
Ah, this is why you have to watch the young'uns.
What are you going on about? Ugh.
Pathetic, Miles Edgeworth.
The lowest of the low.
Is there some sort of kick me sign stuck to the defense's bench?
Anyway, I couldn't afford to be away from my post for too long, you understand, don't you? So...
After I was finished, just as I was heading back, that's when I saw it. The crime took place in the courtyard, correct?
When you go from my room to the main hall, you have to take a winding hallway from which you can see the courtyard. That's right. In other words, it was pure coincidence that the witness saw the crime taking place before her eyes. There was no complicated setup in this case.
That certainly seems to be true.
There is indeed only one problem with this testimony. If I can clearly point it out what it is, then I can begin to quantify just how good this witness's memory and observation skills are. Well, that's fine. You can see my back likes to act up, that's fine. So I left Iris to help the Acolyte and returned to Hazakura Temple. It might be that because Iris is back over here now. There's no bath in the temple. You ceased when needed a long hot soak. It was after I'd finished, I was heading back, but that's when I saw it. Saw what, my lady? So I left Iris to help the Acolyte and returned to Hazakura Temple. Wait, hang on. Sorry, I'm just thinking about it. 'Cause when did the murder happen? Do we have notes on that yet? Cool. 10 to 11 p.m. Well, 10 p.m. Iris wasn't at Hazakura Temple. She was with Phoenix because she gave him the hood. Checking if there's anything left. You left Iris to help with what? What do you think? What do you think? The Acolyte's training, of course. It was just past 10 p.m, so we were starting to enter the training exercises proper. Was it your place to... Well, the job is simply to watch over the Acolytes so they don't pass away. To confirm this point again, that night, you met Iris in the inner temple, correct? Yes, she's a gentle, honest girl. She's never once failed to follow my directions. That's why I was thinking. It's gotta be this and I guess the hood. Because that was at 10 p.m. and then, as we know now, the thing was at 10 p.m. Yeah, she rang the lights out and that's when Phoenix gave her the thing. Although, the murder did happen at 10 and 11, so that doesn't make sense. Oh well, no, it would have been before 10 p.m. So... Yeah, no, not this. Forgive me, Your Honor, but just as you said, forgive me, Your Honor, but you just said it yourself that it does. It's not the hood, then what is it then? Curses, it appears I have yet to adjust to being on this side of the courtroom. Well, we're not getting a perfect one this time. What else is there? I guess this. I was trying to prove that she wasn't there. So I left Iris to help the Acolyte because it says that didn't her training start at 10 p.m? I'm trying to prove that Iris wasn't there at 10 p.m. So I guess it's this. She was in her room. Okay, stupid. That should have been easy. Just lost 2 points there for me being a moron. Witnesses have to undergo their own trials, I'm afraid. The defendant's fate rests on their powers of observation and memory, after all. Well. Don't worry, I'm more than up to the task. I'm a woman of faith, after all. The head honcho of Hazakura Temple. In that case, Miss Honcho, I'd like for you to explain this to me. The discrepancy between your testimony and that of the defendant, Iris. She claims that after ringing the lights out, she went back and stayed in her room. Table smash, good. Which means she did not go into the inner temple after all. No, she said that? A defendant or a witness? Who is more likely to lie, do you suppose? Depends. Is the witness guilty? Because then it all depends on why they would lie. The defendant is simply trying to cover her back. But that is completely illogical. The murder was committed in a courtyard of Hazakura Temple. was committed in the courtyard of Hazakura Temple. Claiming that she went to the inner temple would make for a much better alibi. He has got a point.
But that's odd. Whatever the reason, I can't believe she would lie.
She does indeed have honest eyes. Whoa.
All people lie. That is my belief.
Okay, Dr. House MD. I do like my Hugh Laurie things, but I suggest we should carry on.
Why am I the only one being whipped in here? Anyway, neither the witness nor the defendant have any reason to lie. Which means... we must call your memory into question.
There. You're older than me and yet you want to play the game, do you?
Well, it isn't exactly what I...
My memory is perfect. Crystal clear, especially in winter.
Then, I suppose it's too early to end this cross-examination, eh? Mr. Edgeworth, if you are going to question the memory of this witness, you will need to show a more decisive piece of evidence.
Understood, Your Honor. I was naive to think that that alone would do the trick. Well, that is your first case as a defense attorney. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt.
Then please add your comments about Iris to the testimony, and let us return to the cross-examination.
Again, that's the exact same. That's the exact same. She was dressed exactly as she had been at dinner. Okay, now, of course, we'll press and then we'll present the cape hood, whatever the hell it is, because then she wasn't wearing it because she gave it to Phoenix. You sure that you're not making a mistake?
You, young man, need to get your estimation of me up from the floor. Up off the floor, probably better way of saying it. Iris always wears the same clothes. The smallest thing out of place would have stood out to me like a sore thumb. You're making a mistake, thinking I made a mistake.
Excellent finish there, witness.
Still, I have to wonder. Right then. So now we press the hood. I was trying to prove the right I was trying to prove the right thing, but in the wrong way, or in the wrong manner. Alright. Witness, let's get one thing straight. The defendant whom you claim to have met, she was wearing this demon warding hood, correct?
Of course. That's a very important piece of clothing, I'll have you know. Wait a minute. Hold it right there. Why do you have that?
Oh, you poor dumb woman. I'm about to ruin your argument. That is the question of the day, now isn't it, Ms. Von Karma? I'll have you know that this hood was given to someone as a gift that night. Before the lights out bell was rung.
What?
You know where I'm going with this, don't you? If the witness had seen the defendant as she claims, then the iris she saw would have been missing from this... Then the iris she saw should have been missing this very hood.
Well.
It's not a bad feeling at all, exposing these contradictions like this. Now I understand that happy look on Wright's face every time he does it. Well, if I could get to what the judge was saying.
Sister, this hood, you have spare ones around the temple, don't you? Spares? Well, I do tend to make too many of them.
I see, a stockpile, a surplus of hoods, eh?
Each nun is only given one hood. This should be the only hood the Iris owned.
And this is quite strange. Wah!
If there was a surplus of hoods, then she could have worn one of those. There is no contradiction here.
I'm sorry to break this to you, Miss Von Karma, but you won't get away that easily. Discrepancies such as this will sow seeds in any human heart. The seeds of doubt. Witness, while I don't wish to call your testimony into doubt, you must give every detail with precision.
I'm not sure I'm comfortable going along with this. Sister, continue on with your testimony. Tell us what you saw after finishing your bath, on your way to the inner temple.
Those seeds of doubt are sprouting in the judge's heart. They just need a little more stimulation to bear fruit. Contradictory stimulation.
I don't like using the word stimulation in this manner.
I finished my bath around 11 and I thought I should return to the inner temple. As I was walking back, I heard a noise from the courtyard. I took a look and Iris was, oh, Mystic Elise. And with that sword of all things.
Well, she looks pretty with her hair down. Elise, I mean.
Mystic Elise was staying in the corner room which faces out in onto the courtyard. The stabbing I saw must have occurred after she was pushed out of her window.
Well, she didn't die from being pushed out of a window. And did she have bruising to indicate as such? I don't know.
You saw a truly terrible sight, didn't you? If I was in your place, then it would be much like Miss Von Karma whipping Mr. Edgeworth in two in court. And me seeing it all from this very chair. Something like that.
This judge. His imagination is about as vivid and creative as Detective Gumshoe.
I would look the fool if I commented on such foolishness.
True.
Anyway, this case is mine, Miles Edgeworth.
Calling everyone by their full name, can't you do something about that habit of yours? Got there in the end. Okay, let's begin to press again. Round 2. Oh, round 2. Just how far is your room from the inner temple?
Let me think for a moment. About 20 minutes on these stumps of mine.
I didn't actually look. What are her feet like standing on that crate?
It's about 15 minutes from Dusky Bridge to Hazakura Temple. The inner temple is just beyond the bridge.
Not bridge.
Still, you never made it back there that night, did you? That's right. I was heading along the walkway towards the main hall.
I was walking back, I heard a noise from the courtyard. You say you heard a noise?
Bump. Just like that.
That could only be the sound of the victim falling.
Well, it's very quiet in the temple, you know. You can even hear the snow falling from the branches. Thump, just like that.
But then, couldn't this noise you heard have been snow falling to the ground?
I never thought of that.
I don't like the animation with her cheeks jiggling.
Ugh.
The next one to laugh gets a whipping. Well, whatever the source of the sound, I looked over at the courtyard and Iris was Miss Elise, and that's sort of all things.
This is the second time that the witnesses testified to seeing the defendant. But some doubt remains in these claims.
Hey, just what does that mean? Just because you're a good-looking young man doesn't give you the right to...
The murderer who stabbed the victim with a sword. Sister Bikini, try to recall exactly who it was you saw, and as clearly as you can.
Well, you are a handsome young man, so I'll forgive you.
Well, what is it with old women and really, really liking Edgeworth? Is it the grey hair? Does it make them feel better about themselves?
Oh, now that you mention it, there was something awfully strange about her. Something that has been bugging me this whole time.
Please don't keep us in suspense.
Her hood.
Her hood?
That's right. It's coming back to me now. Iris, she wasn't wearing her hood. I thought something was out of place, but it all makes sense now, doesn't it? After all, she'd given that hood to someone, right?
Well, you did sort of boogie yourself up there, Edgeworth.
Huh? You've dug your own grave, Miles Edgeworth.
What do you say, Mr. Edgeworth? Is this testimony important?
It usually is, so I suggest I'll put it in. This may initially appear to put me at a disadvantage, but I can't see any other leads at the moment. Your Honor, I would like these new statements to be added to the testimony.
Miles Edgeworth. If you want to hang yourself, you only need to ask. I'll gladly lend you my whip.
Does that count as assisted suicide right there? Can we prosecute her for that? And I win by proxy? Because she can't prosecute if she's under trial herself?
Witness, add that statement to your testimony.
No problem.
Okay, now you mention it, Iris didn't have her hood on. Are you sure about that?
Yes. After all, we always wear the same clothes. I don't mean we're poor, you understand. It's our style. Yes, that's it.
There's absolutely no need to explain yourself.
Anyway, she looked different from normal, so that really stuck out. Like me holding a whippet puppy instead of my whip?
I would like to see Franziska von Karma holding a whippet puppy instead of a whip. Although I feared what she'd do with them gloves on. I don't think she'd stroke the puppy. At least then it might bite you and not someone else.
Iris didn't have her hood on, I'm sure of it.
Very well. Now please tell us about the victim, eh?
Mr. Khalees staying in the corner room which faced onto the courtyard. The room the victim was staying in overlooked the courtyard, correct?
Which means the victim's room was on the second floor.
No, Hazakura Temple is a single-story building. The mountain itself slopes downward, which elevates the main gates of the temple and the guest rooms in the back.
Sorry, yawning. It's late at night. Plus I have been sleeping throughout the day because, you know, I've been ill.
To about the height of a 2-story building.
I see. And the victim was staying in one of these elevated rooms, correct?
Yes, I should know. I'm the one who carried her things to her room after all.
Stabbing must have, I must say, must have occurred after she was pushed out the window. I feel like this statement's the one we're going to get her on. But, you know, the fact that we had to eke that extra bit of statement out of her makes me think otherwise. What makes you so sure of all of this?
It's just like I told you earlier. I heard a noise from the courtyard, okay? Bump. Just like that.
You're a smart one, sister, I'll give you that. The autopsy report states that victim's body was covered in bruises. Okay, now we know. So that's not contradictable at this moment in time. Indicating a fall from about 10 feet in height. What type of shoes is she wearing? Because they look like the same color and texture as the wooden box.
It appears then the witnesses was not mistaken then.
Yep, I'm more than just a pretty face, especially in winter. I'm a woman of faith after all, the head honcho of Hazakura Temple.
There's only 2 of them working there. What's wrong, Miles Edgeworth? No snappy comeback remark? I'm thinking... It doesn't feel like she's lying. This is very powerful testimony, too. She claims to have seen the instant in which the defendant stabbed the victim. There are only 2 things I can believe in right now. My client, Iris, and my own abilities as a defense attorney. Well, I think we all suggest that it's this that we have to press her on. But what about it? I was hoping to get a courtyard thing. No, you mentioned Iris didn't have a hood on. This doesn't feel like it's accountable. Oh, sorry, accountable. Body fell 10 feet after a death. Iris didn't have a hood on. This was about 11. So do I bring the note maybe and say like Iris would have gone there instead? That's what would make sense to me. Iris didn't have a hood on. Miss Elise was staying in the corner room. Stabbing must have occurred. It's either that statement that we got, or it's this one here. Must have pushed her out the window. Can we disprove that she was pushed out of a window? It says the body fell 10 feet after death. I mean, the story is about 10 feet. So... kind of makes sense. But the thing is, and I don't know if this is right, because she said this was about after her bath, which was 11. The body says the time of death says it was around 10 to 11, so she's just out of time frame. That's the only thing I can think of. Otherwise, I'm going to... It's the only piece of evidence that sort of links up with anything. Otherwise, it's going to be the note, and then you're going to try and disprove that Iris was there. Was it Heavenly Hall and not there, but it's not conclusive evidence? I'm going to go with this. Oh boy. I'm surprised that was right. I thought it'd be definitely the third statement, the testimony, although there's probably going to be more stuff, isn't there? Impressive logic. That's what I'd like to say anyway.
Oh, please, I do. Oh, please do. My brain is something else, especially in winter.
However, I think you are overlooking one thing. Ms. Von Karma, would you be so kind as to take another look at the autopsy report?
The autopsy report?
The victim did fall from a height of 10 feet. However, the fall was after she was killed.
That's right. It says after death right here.
Oh, I was just looking at the time of death. Well, I'm an idiot. I guess I just got lucky. Body fell after 10 feet after death. Yeah, fair play. Okay, didn't even see that. I just saw what I wanted to see and saw, oh yes, time after... well, she said she had a bath at 11. And this death was between 10 and 11, so... got her there. Well, I failed upwards again, ladies and gentlemen. Anyways. The scene... oh, sorry, the scene the witness claims to have seen is contradictory. The defendant stabbed and killed the victim there in the courtyard. How did the victim then go on and take a 10-foot fall?
Order. The victim was killed and then she fell. If that is the case, then the victim must have been killed in her room, don't you agree?
That is the logical conclusion. Yes, that's right. The victim must have been stabbed by the defendant in her own room. And then she was thrown out of her window down into the courtyard below.
Were there any signs of a struggle in Ms. Dunham's room? She was stabbed with a sword. Then wouldn't... that would leave a blood stain, wouldn't you agree?
Well, Miss Von Karma, was there any blood?
No traces of blood were found in the victim's room.
Your whip has just caused traces of blood to be found on my glorious playoff beard.
It's a glorious beard.
However, there was no blood in that room.
I'm sure there's no need for me to go over this, as I'm sure your honor is very well aware of when a stab wound produces the most blood.
When it produces the most blood?
You're saying when it, you're saying when the after it gets removed?
Very little blood is actually lost, at the moment of the blade's insertion. You want to talk about when most blood would be lost from a body. That would be when the blade is removed.
Indeed. With the weapon still in place, it acts like a lid on the wound.
That's true. With the weapon still in the body, there wouldn't be much bleeding. A perfectly reasonable line of thinking.
We have come to a conclusion then. The victim was thrown out of the window with the sword still in place. This removes all of the contradictions.
She has very pretty eyes when they zoom in on her like that. And I'm fine in saying that. She's like that age. I'm fine.
Order. I must admit that this is a probable version of events.
I'd expect no less from Franziska von Karma. She locates and takes control of every vital point.
It seems that we need a clearer testimony from the witness.
Well, so far I've got 2 wrong. Well, I got 1 technically right, but the second one technically right, but I got it for the wrong reasons.
Remove all supposition on your part and tell us only the facts, please.
Nope, why is she on a...
Witness, please remain standing on the crate.
Don't go selling me short now. The weight of winter snow has bent me out of shape. Especially my back and my mood. Sister, Please give us your testimony. I will give you a vigorous massage once we are finished here.
Don't want to see it? Don't even want to picture in my mind.
With the whip.
Oh boy, alright, alright.
Well, technically getting whip's a massage of some description.
When I looked across at the scene, the sword was already in place. Thinking about it now, I didn't actually see her stab Mystic Elise. I never seen so much blood before. That's when I fainted. You can't blame me, can you? When I awoke, Mystic Army was stabbing Miss Elise through the back.
Well, you know, it was Mr. Kami all along. It was the statue. Blame her instead of the small petite girl.
This all confirms Miss Karma's theory, or Miss Von Karma's theory.
Von Karmas strive for nothing but perfection. Putting together such facts is nothing for me. You should know that too, Miles Edgeworth.
Perfection is an impossibility, Francisca Von Karma. Very true. All we can do is strive for perfection and hope to get it. But usually we keep falling. But as long as we keep striving, we'll keep doing better. And I'm here to teach you just that. Okay, let's begin to press. At that time, what was the victim bleeding?
Well, I was very shocked to be seeing all of this, of course. So I'm not entirely sure. I don't think I saw any blood. Not then.
I'm sure that you didn't. The weapon was acting as a plug in the wound.
In any case, let's be clear about one very important point. Did you actually see the instant at which the victim was stabbed? Right now, I didn't actually see her stabbing Miss Elise. Listen carefully, this is a very important point. Well, hearing carefully, this is very important.
It's Iris we're talking about here. I'm thinking for all I'm worth. No, when I looked over, the sword was already in Mystic Elise's body.
Might not be conclusive, but his testimony supports her theory.
The victim was stabbed in her room and then dropped into the courtyard. I think this proves it rather well, Miles Edgeworth.
It does lend credence to it.
I've never seen so much blood before.
I think it's this that we're gonna get her on, if anything. So you're saying you saw the victim's blood?
That's right. Some of it had splattered onto Iris, too.
When the defendant was arrested, she was meditating in her room, and her blood-flecked clothing was neatly folded in the corner.
What? Her clothes were blood-flecked as well?
That seems quite conclusive to me.
What should I do? Press this point further? Press table slam. Damn it, we're not getting table slamming. It's not good. Going back to your previous statement, you said that you saw little bleeding when the victim was stabbed. Now you say you saw the victim bleeding?
Well, I say that what I saw is what I saw.
What did you see?
Maybe I didn't see the poor woman get stabbed. But I saw the girl pull the sword out of her plain as day.
Pulling the sword out?
Well, it wasn't exactly pulling, it was more like it came out.
Witness, you will add this statement to your testimony.
Oh, is that important?
More important than you can imagine. Saw the instant to which the blade plunged in, to the hilt, into the hilt and was smoothly drawn out. Well, that's not gonna work for me. Smoothly, you say? You're saying you saw the sword smoothly slide out?
That's right. The whole thing happened right next to the gold statue of Mystic Army. Mystic Elise was on the ground and Iris was stooped over her. His sword was buried up to the hilt.
That doesn't work for me, personally.
When Iris stood up, the sword of her hand just slid out of Mystic Elise's body. Slid out from that gaping wound. Ah!
It goes without saying that if the sword was removed, then there would be bleeding.
Nothing out of the place here?
Is that really the case? I can't help but feel there's something about this testimony that is very out of place. That's something which couldn't possibly have happened, appears to have happened. I believe so too, Edgeworth, but let's clean up these other testimonies. Or these other bit of testimony and press. Get the much added dialogue. Was the bleeding caused by the killer removing the sword?
No mistaking it, I remember it all clear as day.
Don't you think that's a bit odd?
What do you mean, Miles Edgeworth?
Why would the killer pull out the sword?
What?
If all she wanted to do was place the weapon in the hand of the gold statue, then there was no reason to remove it from the body. All that would have accomplished is causing the victim to bleed unnecessarily. Your thoughts, Miss Von Karma?
That's...
Indeed, this is strange now that you mention it.
I'm going to need to find an answer to this mystery too.
Anyway, the witness saw something terrible. So what did you do after that, witness?
Oh, we've got her on the ropes.
That's when I fainted.
Yeah, we know she fainted. Now, on to what the killer did next. You saw none of it, correct?
Well, I was unconscious.
How long were you out for? Or how long were you out for?
That's probably a better way. Her inflection, she doesn't seem to do calm and caring.
I don't know, 10, maybe 20 minutes. A young man with a very prickly looking head woke me up. By stepping on me, actually.
I'm not sure I like this method of resuscitation.
Well, I wasn't asking for mouth to mouth or anything of the sort. But I would have welcomed a more gentle awakening right now. Right about then, let me tell you.
I mean, look at Phoenix. He's a handsome-looking guy. Look, he's got the square. He's got like the squared-off chin. I think he's, decent-looking. Not. I mean, the hair's a bit weird, but we can forgive that. You know, Wolverine's got some weird-looking spiky hair, and he's fine. I shall have words with the offender personally. What did you see upon awakening?
I awoke, Mystic Army was stabbing Miss Elise through the back.
By Mystic Army, you are referring to the golden statue, correct?
Just stabbing someone with a shikashito, a sacred treasure, is terrible enough. But to then make Mystic Army hold the blade...
Truly a heinous and despicable crime.
It is easy to despise something. Anyone can do it. However, there is something that cannot be done so easily.
Whatever it is, I'm sure that it's doubly hard for you. Anyway, what's the problem?
Exactly why would the killer set up this gruesome scene? Can anyone explain the reasoning behind that?
Oh, I don't think I can.
There isn't always a logical reason behind the way someone acts.
Well, true.
That's true, so true. In early spring, for example, I often find myself.
There isn't always. That phrase might come in handy someday. There are too many unnatural elements in this case. Why was it necessary to use the Shikashito from the Ami statue as a weapon? And why was the weapon ultimately placed back in the hands of the statue? I can expose this testimony, perhaps then I can begin to find the truth. Well, the thing I wanted to present was sort of, yeah, plunged into the hilt. Now, the blood is only on the top of it, which I find interesting, because if you plunge something into the hilt, you'd expect blood to be, you know, around there. You see what I mean? Yeah, it was an easy contradiction. But who knows, it might not be the last one we need. Sister Bikini, you are a reliable witness. At least, I'd like to think so, but there are too many contradictions here.
And what do you mean? You make it sound as though I'm a liar. But you're a handsome young man, so I'll forgive you.
What contradictions are you talking about?
In the scene that the witness claims to have seen... Scene. Nice use of, what do they call them? Palindromes? Palindromes? Words that sound the same but different meanings. The weapon was thrust up to the hilt in its victim. Furthermore, the killer withdrew the weapon smoothly from the body. Yeah, that's another thing as well. Have you seen that? Can you imagine trying to pull a sword like that out smoothly? However, both of these are complete impossibilities. Okay, and again, not allowing the judge to speak.
Explain yourself.
To start with, do you really think it would be possible to stab someone to the hilt with this? I think it's possible, but you'd have to have some considerable strength. No matter how I look at the defendant, she doesn't appear strong enough for that. Well, looks can be deceptive. You can have some pretty strong people who look rather thin. It all depends on muscle mass versus actual strength.
Doesn't appear? What meaningless dribble? I too may appear to be weak and frail.
Little bit.
But I can crush men under my heel and make them weep. So, should I so choose?
Well, you've got a whip, so if the prosecuting doesn't work out, I think you would quite firmly find a second career in doing exactly that to men. You know, the whip, the leather, like the leather gloves. I think she'd fit into a BDSM sort of deal. Very easily.
The objection stands. I wept a little back there, I must admit.
That isn't the only issue here. If the sword was truly stabbed into the body up to the hilt, well, just look at the branches on it. It certainly wouldn't come out smoothly.
That's...
We also have the problem of the amount of bleeding. It's true when a blade is left in a body, it acts as a plug of sorts. However, when the weapon is shaped like this, it's an entirely different story. The wound would be too large for the blade to completely stop the bleeding.
That's nothing more than conjecture. In reality, the victim was stabbed with a shikashito. Even a weapon of this nature that may still sometimes slide out smoothly and may still sometimes stop the blood loss.
Oh, he's got you now. He's doing the hair flip. I'm not finished. There's still one more conclusive contradiction.
You've got more?
This one is simple. If this sword really was thrust in all the way to the hilt, why is there only blood on the tip of it? Hey, my contradiction, the most important one of all. If the witness is telling the truth, then there shall be blood along the entire length of the sword.
No.
He does make a good argument.
Wah.
Oh, what?
Bravo, Miles Edgeworth, raising this many contradictions from a single piece of evidence. All the other attorneys I know could have maybe managed one, if that.
Yeah, but it's the most important one that's the interesting bit.
But what does this all mean? You have proven contradictions regarding the murder weapon, but
Having come this far, there can only be one answer.
And that is?
The weapon used to kill the victim was not the Shigashito.
what?
A foolishly foolish idea born from the foolish mind of a foolhardy foolish fool.
Okay, got them out. I wonder how many times people actually have to say that, but, you know, imagine reading that. It's a little bit of a tongue twister, so getting it out second time, I'll take it. I can imagine when they did the anime for this, the adaptation from the games to an anime. I can imagine the bloopers of having problems with that. I'm sure there is. I'm sure you guys can look them up as well. Again, you should watch the anime. It's got a couple additional cases that they didn't have in the game. But you know, they're okay. It's okay. The bloopers are the most funny thing, to be honest, from that anime there. Anyway, enough about it. Enough about Japanese cartoons. Let's examine this again. What was it that made us think that this sword was the murder weapon?
Well,
Your testimony. And that.
it's because Mr. Kami was holding it.
Exactly. However, you reflect on this, that this is only the basis that we have to assume a thing. The impression left by the scene was just too strong. That is what influenced us. It influenced us to believe the Shigashito was the murder weapon.
Hold on. Ah!
So maybe the Shigashito was not the murder weapon. Even if that is the case, it changes nothing, Miles Edgeworth. The sister here saw everything. She saw the defendant stab the victim with the sword-like object.
She didn't see her stab it, she saw her pull it out.
That's true. The response, Mr. Edgeworth?
If that is so, I would like the prosecution to answer the obvious question it raises.
The obvious question?
Yes. Namely, where did the real murder weapon disappear to? It goes without saying that the police searched the main hall and the surrounding area. Perhaps the prosecution can enlighten us as to if a sword-like object was found?
That's...
Answer the question, Ms. Von Karma.
It's nice to see the prosecution get hit by the judge for a change.
no evidence of that kind was found.
Another mystery to throw onto the pile. A trial about a murder weapon is a tricky beast.
Excuse me, can I say something? I just remembered something, actually.
What is it, sister?
I was just thinking it's possible that just maybe what actually happened was... it was just over there.
What exactly are you going on about here?
The murder weapon, I mean. Maybe, I think I might know where the sword was disposed of.
You what?
Well then. I think we need to hear testimony from you once more God damn it. I think we need to hear testimony from you one more time, sister.
Impossible. What else could this old woman have seen? To be fair, we're making good time. We got usually I'm at I'm on the halfway point. I feel like we're at the one more testimony before we get a break, and then probably we're gonna have Larry come out next. He's the only other witness we've got, and I can't see this going to another day, unless they leave Larry for the second day, I guess. Which actually, yeah, every case is 3 days, so I assume we'll probably take a break here, take a break, and then go back, and then go with Larry for the second day maybe, and then for the third day go with well, all depends. Usually for each case, the last case of each game lasts 3 days. Anyway.
I saw the murder around 11 p.m. After asking that it be reported, I went out onto the main gate. And there I saw tracks. Tracks that indicated the snowmobile had been used. It takes around 15 minutes to walk to Dusky Bridge, but no less than 5 using one of those. Maybe they threw the weapon into Eagle River and came back while I was knocked out. Iris could have done that. She can drive a snowmobile after all.
Boy, do I like a girl who can drive a snowmobile.
Witness, please tell us everything you know right away this time.
Well, I'm not in the best of shape, with my bad back and my age, you know.
Quite. There were indeed snowmobile tracks in front of the main gate. Here is a photograph. I don't want to.
A snowmobile, eh? I see. Well, it certainly was an interesting theory.
I have one problem with this, though. There's only one set of tracks.
The tracks begin in front of Hazakura Temple and run all the way to Dusky Bridge.
Again, there's only the tracks only go one way.
That solves your pesky little problem, yes? The Eagle River's current is quite swift, meaning that it doesn't freeze over here in winter, making it the perfect place to dispose of the murder weapon.
Did she really go to the river just to dispose of the murder weapon? I mean, the tracks don't match, do they?
Mr. Edgeworth, your cross-examination, please.
Like, that's my issue with it. Look at the... Like, look, there's only one set of tracks. Shouldn't there be 2 if she went back and forth? At least that'd be my thinking anyway. Saw the murder around 11 p.m. Let's see what this unravels. Are you sure about the time? Or are you sure about the time?
Yes, I was worried about it after all.
Miles, that?
Because I have a strong sense of responsibility, especially at this time of year. The acolyte was being doused in freezing water at the time. I couldn't very well take it easy in a bath all night now, could I? So at 11 I decided to leave Hazakura Temple.
The estimation of the time seems reliable, at least.
Please continue, sister.
You asked Phoenix Wright to report the crime, yes?
Right.
Oh, sorry, Wright? The one who trampled me.
It seems she is the type to hold a grudge.
There wasn't a phone at the main hall, so I sent him to the bridge.
Phoenix Wright? He didn't even have his cell phone on him?
He had forgotten it at home, apparently.
What a naive boy, as always. Not only do I carry my phone, but I always have my whip in hand too.
I mean, call him naive all you want. The guy's beat you in, what, 1, 2, 3 cases? 3 times, conclusively. I mean, technically, he did use a lot of help, but besides, he did beat you 3 times.
Anyway, I was really scared it was taking him a while to get back. So I thought I'd go by the main gate for a spell. And there I saw tracks that indicated the snowmobile had been used.
As I recall, there was a snowmobile outside the main gate when I visited.
That's it, it's the only one we have. It'll run no matter how much snow falls.
Now you're certain the snowmobile was there at the main gate when you arrived?
Yes, of course. I parked it in front of the gate.
So she had already gone and discarded the murder weapon and returned by that time.
I'm not sure if that's really relevant. What should I do? Press further. I need answers to every possible doubt, and you're not going to get punished for doing so. So, the snowmobile in question, was it still warm at the time?
Huh? What do you mean?
What do you mean, eh? What do you mean, eh?
What do you mean, Miles Edgeworth?
I'm playing to a slow crowd here. It goes without saying that using a snowmobile will heat its engine. It was still warm, and it means it was recently used. Exactly. That's why they tell you to wait like 10 and 15 minutes before changing the oil on your car if you've just used it. Because if you want to get your hands scalded, that's a nice way to do so. Or at least burnt.
Ah, I see. I never thought of that.
That's right. I overlooked that too.
Of course you did.
And answer the question, please, witness.
I don't often go around touching hot engines. However, now that you mention it, there wasn't any snow on it.
Snow?
Yes, for some reason, only the snowmobile wasn't covered in snow.
He makes a good argument. There wasn't any snow on it. Curses.
It seems highly likely that the killer did use the snowmobile then, hey?
How long does it take to get to Dusky Bridge by snowmobile?
15, no less than 5 using one of those. I don't think this is what we'll criticize. In that case, why didn't you use it yourself? You could have spared yourself some walking.
Ah, there's a reason for that. Have we got a moment to explain for me? Have we got a moment for me to explain?
If I could read sentences and the way they were put, I'd be flawless.
I think that's why the question was asked in the first place.
It was about a month ago. I was driving my beloved little snowmobile, happy as can be. I fetched some water and was heading back when I crashed into a tree.
You know, many such cases.
The tree and my back were both went crunch, just like that. Crunch.
Well, I hope you got that looked at. Maybe that's why you have a bad back. It's just trauma. Followed by, you could have actually, anything could have happened in your back. Herniated disc, literally broken your back. That is a capability, although you don't think you'd be walking if you broke your back. Although in some cases, it's been known to happen.
I haven't been able to find the courage to ride anything since. Anyway, the killer must have used it.
Did you leave the keys in? Right. Oh, it's a good stretch for a minute. Her issues about her back is making me conscious of my own. Oh. Refresh our memory. How long were you knocked out for?
Like I said, somewhere between 10 and 20 minutes.
It's possible to get to the bridge and back in 10 minutes using the snowmobile.
I have to concede that there is more than enough time.
Is that all you wish to concede, Miles Edgeworth?
No. Iris could have done that. She could drive a snowmobile after all. While it would have been possible time-wise, one element remains out of place here.
Oh, and what is this mystery element?
The killer's reasoning, Your Honor. Why did the killer do all of this? Why would
Why go to Eagle River and dispose of the murder weapon when there are other methods? Too many unanswered questions. Your response, Miss Von Karma?
Ugh. Turning to me for help over the slightest thing. Why don't you think for once in a while? Why don't you think for yourself once in a while, Your Honor?
What?
She's as over the top as always.
Anyway, whatever the reason, the fact remains that the defendant could have done this. The murder weapon was disposed of in the river. Another point to me, Miles Edgeworth.
Another mystery to feed the fire. Was there any reason to go and throw away the murder weapon? Luckily, there's surely a problem with this testimony. Yawning, pardon me. Now all I have to do is start poking holes in this flawed account. Saw the murder around 11 PM. Right. Oh, whoops daisy. Just change one thing. There we go. Sorry if you heard the computer sounds. Disconnecting can be an issue sometimes. Just wait for it to reconnect a little bit. Anyway, I saw the murder around 11 PM. After asking Potter, I went out to the main gates, and there I saw tracks. Tracks that indicate the snowmobile had been used. Took 15 minutes to walk to the ski bridge, but yeah, less than 5 in one of those. Maybe they threw the weapon into Eagle River and came back while I was knocked out. I probably believe it was this statement that you want to press on. And I really want to use the tracks as the thing, because like I said, how can they go and then come back when there's only one set of tracks? Otherwise, I think we might be screwed, because I can't think of anything else to be relevant. The staff isn't, that's not at this point in time. The temple isn't really, nothing relevant there. The weather data maybe could come into fruition, but I can't see how it's relevant to disproving something. Photo of Elise. That's that. No. 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 It's got nothing to do with that, the actual snowmobile, so I think it has to be the tracks photo. Boom. I admit this photograph proves something. It proves that the snowmobile was used on the night of the murder.
You finally accepted the inevitable, it seems, Miles Edgeworth.
However, if what this witness says is true, then why is there only one set of tracks? Almost like I saw that in the first bit.
What do you mean?
Iris left Hazakura Temple, threw the weapon into the river, and then returned. If this was the case, then naturally there should be two sets of tracks in the snow. Exactly. Those from heading out to the bridge and those for coming back.
Oh, you're right.
You're forgetting one thing, Miles Edgeworth.
Hmm?
On the night of the murder, it was snowing. The tracks leading to the bridge were erased by the snowfall. This removes your precious contradiction now, doesn't it?
I see. While she was staring at the river, the snow stopped, leaving just the return tracks in the snow.
What you have to say now, Miles Edgeworth?
Is there a flaw in her theory? Well, I think, like I said about the weather. Where's the weather data? Snow, approximately 10:50, 7 to 10:50. Lightning from 10 to 11. Lightning struck the ski bridge at 10:45, allowing 3 minutes past between the fire starting and going out. Does this break up anything for me? Snowing and lightning? That is a bad mix. Is there a flaw in her theory? The idea the snowfall covered one set of tracks. I believe, well... No, there is a contradiction, because snow stopped at 10:50, and she said it was around 11. Be confident. The tracks to the river were covered by the snow. What a nice theory. However, Ms. Von Karma, this is impossible. Inconceivable.
Would you care to explain why there is a rude index finger pointing in my general direction?
Oh, you sweet summer child. No need. The evidence will do all the talking for me.
On the night of the murder, the killer went to and returned from Dusky Bridge in order to dispose of the murder weapon. The outgoing tracks were erased by the snow, or so claims Ms. Von Karma. Mr. Edgeworth, present your evidence to the contrary, eh?
I'd like the different judge to wear a different shirt and tie under his gown. I understand he has to wear the gown, but wish he had something different on. I'm going to present the weather report and pray that I'm right. But I don't need to pray because I'm always right, apart from that time when I was right but wrong. You see, even when I'm wrong, I'm right. Witness, please tell us again what time it was when you saw the crime.
Like I said, it was around 11.
Of course. This means that the weapon was thrown away after that time, correct? On that note, please take a look at this data. Is the weather report on Eagle Mountain on the night of the murder.
The weather report?
Snow started to fall at 7 p.m., but it stopped at around 10:50. Table, there we go. Therefore, when the sister witnessed the crime at 11, the snow had already stopped falling. It's impossible for any tracks to have been made after that time to have been covered up. Now, I'm not saying that the snowmobile didn't go back and forth, I'm just saying it went back after 10:50.
Order. Very well then. Looks like Miss Von Karma's claim has been snowed in. Wah!
It's too soon to be closing this trial due to snow. Miles Edgeworth, how pathetic of you to rely on the weather of all things. Answer me this then. When is a weather report ever correct?
Yes, she makes a good point.
No, you've got it all wrong. This isn't a forecast, this is actual data. Ah!
Forecast, data, all weather reports have some inaccuracies. It may have been snowing in the vicinity well past 11 p.m.
It's true, we cannot be totally sure, eh?
Well, ask Bikini, she'll know. What? How did she pull that off?
It had stopped snowing at Hazakura Temple when the murder took place. You need to provide conclusive evidence of this.
I've come this far, there's no turning back now. Very well. I too cannot allow any doubt to remain concerning this testimony.
Huh, you can't back down, can't you? Such a perfectionist, Miles Edgeworth.
Well, I've got to find some evidence, haven't I?
Very well, Mr. Edgeworth. Where is your evidence that it had already stopped snowing when the victim was killed?
It had already stopped snowing when the victim was killed. Can only be a certain few things. It's either this, which wouldn't make sort of sense. But I guess it's the crime photo, because otherwise she'd have snow on her. Yeah. What's your evidence that it had already stopped snowing when the victim was killed? I guess that's the only argument you can make. Ultimately, it all comes down to one point. That being, whether or not it was snowing or not in the courtyard when the victim was stabbed.
That's right, but proving that is...
incredibly easy.
Huh?
If we want to know whether it was snowing or not, the photo will tell us everything. Of course, I am referring to this photo of the crime scene. As you can see, everything is covered with snow. With just one exception.
And that is?
Technically two exceptions. The sword and the woman. The victim herself, Miss Elise Dunim. Why is there no snow on top of her? The answer is simple. It had stopped snowing when she was killed, that's why. In other words, if the killer really did go to Eagle River to dispose of the murder weapon, then in this photograph there should be two sets of tracks.
Order! Just what do you...
Just what are you suggesting, Miles Edgeworth?
To be honest, I'm not entirely sure myself, but this is simply what all of the facts point to. That night, someone used a snowmobile to leave Hazakura Temple. From the tracks left, it can be understood that they were heading for Dusky Bridge. At that time, it was still snowing.
Of course it was, because those tracks were erased by the snow.
Then, when this person returned to Hazakura Temple, the snow had stopped. Oh, sorry, no, it's Phoenix. Yes, it's Edgeworth, sorry. The snow had stopped. Thus, the return tracks remained. I think I'm going to a blend of the judge's voice and his.
Can I say something? This all sounds a bit fishy to me.
What does, sister?
There's only one key for the snowmobile.
Furthermore, on the night in question, we know that the defendant had it. The key was found in her room after the murder.
Which can only mean that that night, Iris used the snowmobile to go into the inner temple.
But Iris said she never went there. I should probably press on this point some more when I get the chance.
The snowmobile can't cross the suspension bridge, so then she must have left it on the Hazakura side of the bridge and crossed it. Left on the Hazakura side of the bridge and crossed on foot.
That sounds right.
Which what's odd is when I left Iris and returned to Hazakura Temple,
The snowmobile wasn't there.
I didn't see anything near Dusky Bridge.
You must have just failed to see it, sister.
I mean, failed to see a snowmobile?
Maybe, but when I made it back to Hazakura Temple, it was there by the main gate. The snowmobile, I mean. I know what I saw. It was covered in snow, too.
But that isn't possible.
Order in the court. What does all this mean?
So then, what was the snowmobile used for? It wasn't taken by the defendant when she went to the inner temple. If it had been, then the witness couldn't possibly have seen it by the gate. Furthermore, it wasn't used by the killer to dispose of the murder weapon. If that was the case, then there should be two sets of tracks in this photo. All we know is this. After it stopped snowing, someone used the snowmobile to return to Hazakura Temple. I never thought a simple snowmobile could cause so much trouble.
I think we've learned all we can from this witness.
Yes, I've got nothing more to add. I told you everything I know.
But then, that still leaves us with the same problem. Only there was someone, a witness who could testify having seen the snowmobile.
Oh, are we going to get Larry now? A witness, huh?
Was there no one Was there no one walking perhaps near Dusky Bridge on that night?
I don't think that's likely. It was cold enough to freeze your ears off. Only an idiot would go out wandering in like...
Yeah, it's gonna be Larry, of course it is.
Only an idiot would go out wandering in that. Unless they had something really important to do.
Hmm. That's a shame.
Hold on. Something's coming to me. An idiot may have well gone wandering out on that subarctic night. Your Honor? Actually, there just might be one individual who may be of help to us. So we are gonna get Larry now.
Really?
You know of someone who might have seen the snowmobile on the night of the murder?
I don't know for sure if he saw it or not, but there are two things about him that do come to mind.
Which are?
First, he saw something incredible on the night of the murder.
And the second being?
This individual that I am thinking of went wandering outside on that night. On that cold night. In other words, he is that kind of idiot.
Mr. Edgeworth, who is the idiot that you are talking about? No, who is the idiot you are talking about?
Good old Larry. It only had to be him.
This guy must be a product of Jean-Luc Deladluc's Guide to Obnoxious French Painting.
I don't know if that's a reference to anything, but I have no idea. Went right over my little tiny head. This is Larry Butts, a disciple of the victim, Elise Dunim.
A student? Interesting. And why was he wandering about outside on the night of the murder?
That's, I could tell them all about his designs for Iris. But it may cost us his credibility as a witness before I even call him. He is, after all, an artist. He was perhaps searching for something in the snowy scenery that would move him? Although I cannot guarantee that this is the reason.
And so, this unfortunate, unreliable-looking man... What exactly was it that he saw?
I intend to extract that from him, right here in this very courtroom.
Summon this youth as a witness immediately.
I have no choice, do I?
I believe he is in the gallery for this trial. It will not take long to summon him.
Very well.
Larry, you may have escaped me yesterday, but today I'm going to get everything out of you. Oh, good.
The court will now adjourn for a 20-minute break.
He's got to pee. He's definitely got to pee.
Ms. Von Karma, please see to preparing the next witness.
Understood, Your Honor. Oh, understood, Your Honor.
Good. Well then, the court is now in recess.
Well, we're carrying on. I want to get the whole of this trial done today. I think we can anyway. We'll probably hit the 3-hour mark, but it'll be worth it. To get it all conglomerated in one.
Excuse me, Mr. Edgeworth, I'm not really sure what to say.
Iris, we only have 20 minutes. There are two things which I need to ask you before we reconvene.
All right. I'll help you any way I think I can.
First, about that night, you really didn't go to the inner temple, did you? The last witness claims to have met and talked with you in the training hall. Either you or Sister Bikini is lying.
Mr. Edgeworth, it's just as I said yesterday. Till the incident occurred, I was in my own room in Hazakura Temple.
Very well. The second thing, then. That night, the temple snowmobile was used in between the times Sister Bikini returned to the main hall and when she bore witness to the murder. Sometime between 10:30 and 11 p.m. that night, were you the one who used that snowmobile?
There's only one key for the snowmobile. The only person who could have used it was me.
Sorry, just turning my phone off. So it was you. But why? What made you go out to Dusky Bridge?
I'm sorry, Mr. Edgeworth.
Ah. Well, that's a lot of Cyclops, and I don't think we have any evidence that can break them all.
I can't tell you about that yet.
Yet?
Not until her safety is confirmed. The safety of the Acolyte.
The Acolyte, huh? She must be talking about Maya. Interesting. I don't know why she has so many Cyclops around Maya, but I don't know why. Iris, look me in the eye and tell me the truth. Did you kill Elise Dunim?
No matter who or what may come, I can never take a life.
Well, the magic number 9's working. As I thought, no Cyclops. Very well. My job to get the truth. You'll discover this for yourself soon enough. Well, here we go. Hopefully Larry's more, what's the word? Open than he was last time. Either in a courtroom or when we were talking to him. The last time he was in a courtroom was first trial, first game. When we got him. What's the word? Not convicted. The other one. Acquitted. That was the word. But he didn't really take the stand then. Really know over time he took the stand. Oh yeah, he would have been in Edgeworth's case as well. I believe he was. Yeah, he was in Edgeworth's case. So he has been on the stand and he was annoying then. Court will now reconvene. Ms. Von Karma, where is the witness?
During the break, a man was detained for suspicious behavior in the gallery.
Suspicious behavior?
He was sketching something very intensely.
Dare I say what the witness was sketching when... Dare I ask what the witness was sketching when he was detained?
He drew a terrifying woman armed with a demonic face and a vicious whip.
my exact reaction to her saying that. I can only assume his intention was to capture you.
Anyway, it's time to drag this pathetic excuse for an artist before the court. Larice Dunim, I hope you're ready. Get in here.
It would seem that her whip is going to see plenty more use today. Well, at least it's not me who's getting it. Well done, Larry. You pissed her off.
Your sketch is in contempt of court. Hey, I was just artistically ow! You tried to run away from the bailiff who's trying to hand you who's trying to hand you your subpoena, correct? Look, I'm nothing more than a fledgling artist training out in the mountains. I'm only down here in the city because I ran out of green paint. Well, to use the technical term for the color, viridian. Larry, actually, see, I learned a lot of like the color. I learned a lot about color when I was through playing like original Pokemon and learning that each color, you know, obviously each city has a different color: saffron, viridian, vermilion, celadon, fuchsia. Oh, I could never pronounce fuchsia as a kid. I just gave up. I didn't even have like an attempted way to say it. I just gave up because I was like, those words in that sort of way does not actually create a word that can make any verbal sense. Or at least I thought that at the time. I was just like, nope. I know when to give up. But anyway, enough about my knowledge of colours, or me learning colours. This isn't an art store now, is it? I know, I graduated junior high, okay? Look, art is all about working in the fields, isn't it?
Working in the fields?
I presume he wanted to say field work. I hope.
That's it. Thanks, buddy.
It's kind of sad that I was able to understand his mangled train wreck of a sentence. I just happened to stop in here and found a wonderful new model. Well, yeah. So see, I got nothing to do with this trial at all. I expect all your faces to be red when you realize this mistake. Bright red. Or to use the technical term, Crimson Lake. Don't know about that one. Ouch! Ouch! Ow! Ow! Ow!
Ouch!
Stop this pathetic blabbering and testify like a man.
Refrain from whipping me, Miss Von Karma. Cross-whipping is as bad as cross-checking. Witness, that was your fault. Testify now.
Wow, this is too much for me.
Well, Larry, better get testifying, or else that whip's gonna keep cracking.
I was at that lodge out in the mountains looking up at the stars that night. I walked to the bridge a number of times, but I didn't see a snowmobile. I didn't see anyone at the bridge that night either. The girl I was waiting for didn't show up. My teacher died on me. I'm all alone now. Aren't I, Edgy?
Witness, please refrain from talking directly to the lawyers during your testimony.
I'm just a nobody, nothing but a small, worthless man, aren't I? That's why I wasn't asked for my name and occupation or anything else.
Mr. Edgeworth, this man seems to have quite a severe inferiority complex.
He's recently been the cause of numerous incidents. I think he's finally realized for himself just how much of a nuisance he can be to other people.
Yeah, that's right. I'm behind everything, every case. Watch out, okay? Just touching me will make you eternally unhappy.
Well then, let us proceed with a cross-examination with no touching, thank you. We can delve into other details at a later time.
Well, okay then. It's a very short first bit of first statement, so I guess we gotta press him and go from there.
Whatever is the matter, Mr. Edgeworth?
This one single statement is so full of contradictions. For a moment there, I thought I was going to collapse.
So, witness, any idea as to where these contradictions in your testimony lie? Depending on your answer, I may stay my whip. Alright, give me a minute. Well, it was snowing that night, so I couldn't possibly have seen the stars. That rundown shack is hardly a lodge, is it? And even if the stars could be seen, it's like I was there to look at them. It's not like I was there to look at him, right? Larry, you pillock. See, you can do it if you try. How? There was only one issue here. What you saw at Dusky Bridge.
Okay, press him now and see what this holds. Number of times, how many? Maybe like 5 times? I went there once every 20 minutes. Which means... you spent almost 2 hours at Heavenly Hall that night? You bet. Real love is about waiting for your heart in your hands.
Love, you say?
It was this man's intention to summon the defendant to the small shack. Using this blackmail letter.
Blackmail?
No, it's simply a product of my overflowing love. Ah!
You huffy, puffy, loosey-goosey excuse for a whimpering, whining wuss of a witness.
So, what did you see? I hope for your sake you saw a snowmobile. You huffy, puffy, loosey-goosey excuse for a whimpering, whining wuss of a witness, eh?
Well, you see? You see?
Being called those names doesn't seem to bother him at all. Just had to switch out my headphones though. See, one of them was getting on low charge.
But I didn't see a snowmobile.
Larry, you really didn't see it.
Hey! No need to hit your desk. I can hear you. I didn't see it. I didn't see a snowmobile.
Larry, say snowmobile for me, please.
Snowmobile.
If you truly have nothing to hide, then why are you stammering just like you flew over a cuckoo's nest? I'm assuming that's that could be the film reference to One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Don't know, haven't seen the film. Plan to at some point in my life. But for now, let's move on.
Shut up. What is this? I don't know. Don't ask me. I know nothing about a snowmobile.
Seems that I'll need to start from a mere or more obvious contradiction, and to strike the blow that will finally get him to spill the beans. You didn't meet anyone.
Yeah, that's right. I got nothing to do with this. I'm just here to buy some Viridian paint, okay? Come on. I expect to see those Crimson Lake faces now.
It would appear that simply pressing him isn't going to be enough, Mr. Edgeworth.
Indeed. Seems that he isn't going to claim to have nothing to do with this to the end. I don't want this guy to cost us any more time. I need to slice through his obvious contradictions and keep this moving along. Well, I think we know one person he might have seen on the night. We even saw it ourselves. Good old spiky hair Magoo. Larry Butts, I can understand why you might want to throw your old life away. You're pretty pathetic and you cause all sorts of trouble.
I'm sorry.
But, having realized how much of a nuisance you have been, that could be considered a step in the right direction.
Edgy, are you trying to console me?
It certainly doesn't sound that way to me.
However, I cannot forgive you for simply turning away from the incidents you create.
What? You're totally pinning this on me?
Now then, let us talk about the night of the murder. Sister Bikini, after seeing the murder take place, asked Phoenix Wright to report it. Thus, he headed for the public phone by the bridge. There, he happened across a certain nefarious individual, You, Larry Butts.
That's right. Me, in the flesh.
Listen carefully, witness. Doesn't matter if you change your name. As long as you remain pretty pathetic, you will continue to cause these incidents. This reality will not change.
Well, he's kind of right. To a point. If Larry keeps being the idiot that he is, he will keep getting himself into trouble. But... Oh, never mind. Didn't even think that would be the next line.
But what are you gonna do? What do you want me to do then?
Larry, what you need to change is your inner self. But for now, what you saw on that night, testifying truthfully about this one issue is all I need from you.
Edgy, I think I've finally woken up. Well, I guess I could still be sleeping. But anyway, I'll do it. I'll testify. Well, I'm not sure this will go especially well.
I'll ask again, witness. What did you see on the night of the murder?
Well, round two. Look that one right out of him.
I went to the shack around 9, so it would have to have been about 10:30. I was laying under my bedding when a white flash almost blinded me. I looked out of the window and Dusky Bridge was on fire.
What is that? So he's got his artist hat there, some seats, some books, and some food, and a couple of cans. I mean, the guy was prepared, but he was still probably going to freeze to death with the front door open.
There was still some thunder and I went right away to check it out. That's when I ran into Nick.
You certainly saw quite a lot, didn't you?
So, what happened to the bridge after it caught on fire? It was like me after it was. Oh, sorry. We gotta do the Larry voice. It was like me after a 3-day stint chasing a girl. It totally burnt out. Like, almost totally gone. I mean, trying to cross burning remains was what caused Nick to fall. What did you say?
Oh, don't worry. It's nothing life-threatening. He's just caught a cold.
I never know with that man if he should be called lucky or unlucky.
It probably just balances out to being neutral.
Now, Mr. Edgeworth, please commence your cross-examination.
Nick's fine. I mean, sometimes he's very lucky at finding evidence or getting the right contradiction at the right time. Other times he's really unlucky. Okay, let's start pressing statements. What did you do out there in the cold for half an hour or for an hour and a half?
You really must know. I was busy being excited, I guess.
Excited? Dare I even ask?
I mean, I know he was waiting for Iris, but getting excited over it, might have been a bit too much, Larry.
I set up the meeting time for 10 p.m., right? But I couldn't wait, and I thought she might come early, too.
Well, it appears she didn't come at all, in the end. Sorry, being childish. She didn't come at all. Yes, she certainly did not. Right, get that out of my system. I'm good.
Because they never arranged to meet in the first place, did they? Shut up, don't go picking my fond memories apart. Anyway, I was getting a little worried. Thought maybe Iris had lost her way.
So every 20 minutes or so I went out to the bridge. But I didn't see anything particularly suspicious. I didn't have anything to do, didn't have anything else to do, so I went back to the shack to wait for her. I was lying under my bedding when a white flash almost blinded me. This light was, of course, lightning. Like, kapow! Like a slap from Naomi, honestly. Big bada boom! Yeah! Or a little like this. Huh, that's more like a punch from Miranda.
Witness, did you actually see the lightning hit the bridge?
Well, I was a bit startled by the flash of light, so, I looked out the window and Dusky Bridge was on fire. Seeing that, what did you do? What do you think? I was burning up as well from the fire in my heart. And that's why you went to take a look at the bridge? Oh, and that's why you went to take a look at the bridge? Well, to be honest, it was freezing cold, so at first I thought, forget it, I'm not leaving my covers. But it had pretty much stopped snowing, so I don't know, I changed my mind.
I'm not sure I care for the forget it attitude that you had at first, Witness.
There was still some thunder, so I went to check it out right away. You said right away. But how exactly, how long after the strike was that? The lightning fell and then the bridge caught on fire, maybe around 5 minutes? I mean, I suddenly thought, gotta go check this out. How far is this small shack you were in from the bridge? Hold on. Well, it had pretty much stopped snowing, so, guess about a 5-minute walk? And how did Dusky Bridge look when you got there? Like I had recovered a piece of my childhood. I mean, not even the bonfires kids make during school camping trips can compare. Well, should I press him for a little more info? Why didn't you call anyone? Why did you go to the bridge? Why didn't you go to the bridge? So, you suddenly thought to check out the bridge. Does this mean you initially had no intention of doing so? Well, yeah, I guess it does. It was really cold and I didn't really want to go out there. If that's the case, then why did you change your mind? I'd like to hear your reasoning.
In which case, please give testimony to that fact, Witness. To that effect, Witness.
My reasoning? Okay, reasoning, is it? Thought I'd never get another chance to see something so big burning. That's just a complete lie. So you decided... So you decided to go and see what was happening. Yeah, that's right. We were talking about a massive suspension bridge burning to high heaven. That's not something you see every day. A real spectacle? I'm assuming he's meant to be saying. Like, really special. Can we really trust a witness who is unable to pronounce the word spectacle?
Life seems to love hitting this poor witness below the belt.
Well, my motto is hit life hard as back as I can. Ah! I'll give you a few hints too, if you like, with my whip. You told me about the burning bridge yesterday, but there was still something that doesn't quite fit. Looks like, despite his change of heart, Larry still isn't telling us the whole truth. Went to the shack around 9, so it had been 10:30. I was lying under my bedding when a white flash almost blinded me. When was the weather report saying that it was, when the lightning was? Between 10 and 11, so it's likely to happen. Lightning struck the ski bridge at 10:45, around 30 minutes passed between fire starting and going out. Looked out the window, Dusky Bridge was on fire, there was still some thunder, and I went to check right away to check it out, but I'd never get to see another chance to see something so burning. Let's see what the other thing for this was. If not, I'll present on that statement beforehand. You said right away, how long was the strike after that? Why didn't you call anyone as an interesting one? Larry, let me ask you one thing. What is it, Edgy? What's with the serious face? Why didn't you call anyone? Huh? What do you mean? Normally, when faced with a towering inferno, one would try and tell someone. There is a public phone by Dusky Bridge, correct? Well, of course, I thought of doing that.
So then, let's hear why you didn't.
Huh? Yeah, okay, a reason. My reason. Isn't it that I didn't try to tell anyone? I just didn't have time to? I arrived at the bridge and Nick showed up less than a minute later. I mean, I want to check this right away. I just want to have a punt at this. There we go. They're going to lead us back into this statement anyway, because they're giving us the chance to get, like, an ending statement, which will probably lead on to what we get out of this. Right, to take a punt. Your very existence being a contradiction, I'm not so sure if you can grasp this or not. Hey, what the hey, Edgy? You make me sound like some kind of alien. But your testimony is conclusively contradictory. The problem here is time. I've never been the best timekeeper, you know. 3 minutes after Billy leaves on foot, you'll follow him on your bicycle. How long does it take you to catch up with him? I'm terrible at those. This is much more simple. You saw lightning strike Dusky Bridge, and immediately went to see what happened. Is this correct? Or is that correct? Is this correct? Doesn't feel right saying is this correct. Yeah. Well, I wasted about 5 minutes first before, but more or less. I have the weather data, right? Oh, I have the weather data from the night of the murder here. According to this, lightning fell at 10:45. You say it takes less than 5 minutes from the shack to Dusky Bridge, meaning you probably got there around 11 p.m. That all sounds about right, I guess. And then Nick showed up and did his falling act. That is impossible. What do you mean? 11 p.m. is exactly when the murder occurred here in Hazakura Temple. Thus Wright was still there, in the courtyard. There's no way Larry could have encountered him at Dusky Bridge at that time. Excuse me, I have an objection.
You do?
Edgy, how many times do I have to say this? I'm not Larry, I'm Larice Nim. Yeah! It has not been proven that the murder occurred at 11 p.m. The sister only said around 11 p.m. In which case it could have been earlier than that. Watch your footing there, Francisca. The slope ahead is slippery. Oh, she doing the slippery slope argument? For there's still no way that Wright could have been at Dusky Bridge at 11 p.m. Why not? It is clearly written here in the weather data report. It took around 30 minutes for the bridge to burn out. Therefore, the bridge must have been burning until 11:15.
Which means what, exactly?
Wright did not see the bridge while it was being consumed by the flames that night. Well, he did. It was on fire. In fact, he did not arrive at the scene until the flames had died down. Well, fair play then. Yeah, okay. We're going over semantics, but the semantics matter. Larry. You arrived at the bridge at 11 p.m. But Wright did not make it there until 11:15. I suggest you stop hiding things and just tell us the whole truth. Now then. What happened during those missing 15 minutes? Ugh. I feel like I just got brutally woken up by a toilet splashback. I guess I was sleeping still. Pinch me after all.
Order! Hurrah!
So, there was a missing 15-minute prior to meeting Phoenix Wright. I hardly see that as much of a problem.
Yeah, not much of a problem at all. Really? The bridge is burning before your eyes, and there's a phone right next to it. Why then did you not report the accident?
Yes, witness. Why didn't you? You were simply going to watch the bridge burn?
And therein lies the problem, for even after the bridge had burnt out, he was still there. Staring into space, this witness didn't even attempt to fulfill his civic duty.
That's what it sounds like.
Ah, but this is Larry we are talking about. And even he is incapable of being so stupid. Which means there has to be a reason for this inaction. Edgy. I think it's about time I got serious with you, dude. Just as I thought, you've been playing with us the whole time. Listen, I'm gonna tell you everything. Are you sure you want to hear it all? Yes. I may really say it this time. Everything. Ha!
Then say it.
Very well, I have a very bad feeling about this, however. Let's have the witness finally give us the whole truth. Now, this 15-minute gap, what were you doing, witness?
I'm a denim. I'm an artist. What do you think I was doing? Sketching in front of the bridge. I was whipped up into a frenzy of art. The shock and awe of that feeling, I transferred it all directly onto the page. Before I realized it, the flames had gone out and then he came running up.
I suppose artists are strange folk.
That's right, I'm willing to sacrifice anything in order to draw the perfect sketch. Including the truth from the sound of it.
Mr. Edgeworth, has this removed the last of your doubts?
Not at all, Your Honor. One large doubt still remains.
And what would that be?
This is a surprising, believable story, especially considering the source. So why did he think he needed to hide it from us until now? I intend to drag the reason out of him. Heh. You'll regret it. You'll regret this, Edgy. I'm a denim. I'm an artist. What do you think I was doing? Tell us, Larry. My name is Larice. Get it right. Mistakes like that are what keeping you from being popular with the ladies like I am.
Just who exactly are you?
I'm Larice Denim, apprentice extraordinaire. I'm surprised that Elise took him on, to be honest. That's what he calls himself in any case.
And you are... Oh, sorry. Oh, thinking, oh, now I can feel it coming. And you are an artist?
Of course, I'm an artist, the real thing. Yet again, that's what he calls himself. Names mean nothing. There's only one issue I care to discuss. What were you doing? That is a very big issue indeed. Sketching the burning bridge? Yeah, man, the burning bridge and everything just came with it. What came with it? You want to hear this from my lips, do you, Edgy? You'll regret this. This sketch of mine is... Ah! Enough. Just take that ridiculous sketch of yours out already, Witness. What are you talking about? I don't know what you mean.
That does indeed appear to be the fastest solution. I'll leave it to you, Mr. Edgeworth.
What should I do? I've got a terrible feeling that the instant this sketch is revealed, the entire world may be changed by what it depicts there. I suppose we better look at it, because otherwise we're not going to be doing much. Larry, I wondered if you could show us your sketch, please. Well, even if I couldn't have imagined it'd turn out like this. Imagined what? That the Reese Nim's debut would take place here, like this. How? Show it, now. Okay, but steel yourselves. This is the world of Larice Nim. I mean, it's not a terrible drawing.
Well, so this is Dusky Bridge, correct? Quite a large bridge, isn't it? Your response, Miss Von Karma?
Yes, well, it's a better drawing than I expected. Isn't it? Isn't it? I struggled to reproduce those flames, I really did.
Yes, I'm sure you did.
He's quite happy with himself, isn't he? This is going to get ugly. No one has the courage to bring it up, it seems. This mysterious flying object. Larry? What? The burning bridge is fine. But what is that unfortunate looking figure? Ah, you spotted that? I thought you might. However much I might want to ignore it, I can't. It's Iris, of course. Iris. I wish she'd take better care of herself. We have to plan for our future, you know. What would have taken her... What would have happened to her if she'd injured herself flying like that? Yeah, I think that's the exact reaction I'd have to someone saying they were flying. Larry, please answer this next question honestly. Okay. Are you really claiming to have seen this? Are you claiming to have seen the silhouette of the defendant flying over a bridge that was engulfed in flames? Yep, that's what I saw. That's why I drew it. I'm an artist, a real artist. You...
Hi? The girl, she's really high up in this picture. What was that for?
This is all a bad dream. I was hitting you on the cheek to test that theory.
Please whip your own cheek from now on if you wish to test your wild theories. Anyway, no court of law will ever acknowledge that people can fly.
Actually, there is some precedent for this. She was flying pretty high, my sweet Iris. She was flying about 30 feet above the bridge, at least. It was really something to see.
This has to be some kind of mistake. Mr. Edgeworth, please bring the witness back down to earth.
What? Me?
This witness is your friend, is he not?
Accessory to foolishness, Miles Edgeworth.
Let us get back to the cross-examination, by force if necessary. Mr. Edgeworth, I expect you to expose the obvious contradiction here.
Yes, Your Honor. Looks like I've got another reason to remember this moron.
Well, what do you think about my debut piece?
Get that thing away from me.
Well, it's been added into the court record now.
Now hurry up and cross-examine him.
Okay. Just where did you see this sight from?
Hey, no need to shout. When I was lying in bed, that rundown shack, the crack of the lightning bolt made me realize that the bridge was burning. I just watched it for a while there, thinking how nicely it was burning. And then about after 5 minutes, I saw it. The defendant flying? That's right. That's when I decided to go to the bridge.
I see. That all makes sense. Aside from the sketch itself.
Yes, the sketch doesn't make any sense. I just need to convince the artist that his work is ludicrous. Let's press everything first and then we'll shove it in his face. You transferred everything directly onto the pages, and that is this sketch here?
Yep. Sensational, isn't it? Or should that be scandalous? It put my mind at ease anyway. It did? That's right, the reason she didn't come to me, even though I waited for her, was because she was trapped on the other side of the bridge. Could it be that Iris, undertook that dangerous, desperate flight in order to reach me? That's gotta be it. Alright, go me. Ow! Continue, please.
You forgot the passage of time to that extent, did you?
Well, once I get caught up in something, I tend to forget everything else.
Same. I'm very one-track minded. That's true. He's always been that way. I guess he's not lying about that, at least.
Phoenix Wright appeared on the scene at after 11:15. If he was drawing until then, that dispels all doubts.
Aside from the doubts of his humanity, eh?
There's a big clue waiting for me in this cross-examination. The testimony does nothing less than mock the court. I'm sure that there is a vital kernel of truth hidden in it somewhere. Right. Well, I think it's the fact you kind of saw Iris flying. You know, because people can't fly. I can't really just present the sketch, right? That can't be right. That can't be it. Yeah, thought not. Evidence clearly reveals the contradiction in that statement, Your Honor.
Unfortunately, I'm afraid I can't accept that.
Well done, Your Honor.
What?
I was only testing you just now.
Then why don't you try testing this penalty, too?
Looks like I shouldn't have spoken in haste. It's gotta be this statement. I'd be shocked if it's not this one. What is there to prove? It's not this, it's not that, it's definitely not the... And no. The hood? Maybe? because I guess she would have a hood on. No, because she wasn't carrying a hood anyway. It's not this. How do I prove it's not Iris flying, I guess, is the main bit. So I can't prove she wasn't... With the evidence I've got, I can't prove that she wasn't flying, if that makes sense. So this was at 10 what? I don't really have a good thing for this. I mean, it could be Iris's testimony, but I don't think that's conclusive since we've just been disproven. I don't think that'd be the right thing to say. Her white hood fluttering, though. That makes me think... It has to be this. Yeah. Hang on. Oh, sorry, I wasn't reading the statement. Idiot. Because her white hood was fluttering, this will be right. Just had to rub my two brain cells together. Yeah, her white hood fluttering. Because her white hood's fluttering, it creates a contradiction because Phoenix should have had the hood by this point. There we go. Larry, what did you really see that night? Not that I particularly care. Hey, in your position, that's just being irresponsible. I drew exactly what I saw. I'll give you a whole $1 that it's the truth. If that truly is the case, then there is one thing that we can say for certain.
What might that be?
The person who flew over the bridge could not have been the defendant, Iris. What? What do you mean? I don't understand. What? A foolhardy folly of a foolish statement by an equally foolhardy fool. I could do that if you give me like 5 more attempts. How exactly can you make this claim? Tell us, Larry, according to this picture, the individual whom you say you saw wearing a hood, correct? Of course she was. That rundown shack is quite away from the bridge. The hood is what told me that this floating angel was my Iris. The hood is my darling Iris, and Iris is my darling hood. What? It seems there are bigger fools in this world than the one at the defense's bench. Larry, there's something you need to be made aware of. On the night of the murder, Iris wasn't wearing her hood. She had given it to Wright as a gift. Are you going to change your story now? Perhaps suggest it was Wright who took flight. What are you talking about? I think you understand what I mean just fine. Why did Nick have Iris's hood? What? Edgy, what's going on with Iris and Nick? Why, you Nick, you dog? I mean, yeah, he's Mr. Steal Your Girl.
I do believe that this unbelievably mysterious sketch is destined to disappear, discredited, and discarded, straight into the garbage.
Ha! What is it now, witness? Feels like I've been waiting 25 years for this very moment to come. Edgy, today's the day I get to completely stupefy you. What?
What is the meaning of this outburst, witness?
I hate to have to do this, but I have some decisive evidence.
Definitive. Oh, actually, you must have said definitive. Well, decisive, definitive. We're splitting hairs over synonyms.
Iris did indeed come flying over that bridge. And I, Larice Denim, shall prove it.
Damn.
I didn't expect to ask this again. But we shall be needing your testimony once again. Tell us anything you know concerning the defendant as depicted in this sketch. And show us the evidence that this nightmare was actually a reality.
Okay, and I hope you're ready, Edgy. Because I'm gonna feed you a whopping serving of pain.
You've been serving us all a whopping serving of pain this whole time. Trust me.
Here we go.
When I reached Dusky Bridge, she was already gone. I was so worried, so I frantically searched all over for her. That led me to finding a beautiful crystal sphere, half buried in the snow. I'm sure that Iris was simply wearing a spare hood. After all, no one else could have lost a crystal sphere that night.
I mean, to be fair, he does make a good argument.
A crystal sphere?
Yeah, this one. Pretty, ain't it? But, finders keepers. That sphere, where did you find it? And where did you find it? Let me see. Around here somewhere? Looks about right.
And it was half buried in the snow?
It pretty much stopped snowing by then. There was still some falling as I walked to the bridge.
The court accepts this crystal sphere.
That's mine, okay? I want it back afterwards.
There's something on it. Oh my, it's blood.
What? What was love? I've just completely lost my train of thought. Just went blank for a second. What? Blood? Okay, got a crystal sphere.
You ready, Edgy? By tomorrow morning, you'll be calling me Master Larry. Yeah, I like the sound of that. No one's gonna push me around.
Didn't you want to be called Larista Nim only a few minutes ago? Well, let's see what we've got.
When I reached Dusky Bridge, she was already gone.
Well, let's press everything and work our way from there.
So you went to the burning bridge. That's right, to meet Iris. She actually flew to get to me. The least I could do was meet her halfway.
But the defendant... Oh, sorry.
But the defendant was not at the bridge when you got there, you say.
I guess she went back to Hazakura Temple. She's a girl after all. She must have wanted to look her best.
It must be lovely to live in a fantasy land of Larry's mind. Actually, it's so desperately depressing, that I can't even work up the energy to point.
So, what did you do next?
So, you searched all over for her.
She was flying pretty high, you know. I thought maybe she slipped on her landing and got hurt, but hey, it's more than possible. Also, when I headed out to the shack the first time, I was snacking on a banana. I was pretty sure I threw the peel away somewhere around there, so, you know?
Can one guy really be this stupid? So, did you find any signs of her so-called landing?
I don't really remember. I kept falling over myself and I kinda lost it for a while.
You fell over yourself?
Yeah, the snow was kinda deep.
And there was even a banana peel out there. Yep, that's stupid. And then there's Larry Butts.
The short of it is that you didn't find any signs of her landing, correct? And what happened next?
Half buried.
Yeah, it was sitting there in the snow with a little gap on top of it. It's very hard to spot. I mean, it's actually it was dark out too.
I'm impressed you did well to find it.
No matter what you may think when you look at me, I'm a pro. A genius security guard. I used a pen light I borrowed from my company to help in my search. And so it sparkled really brightly. It was saying, "Here I am," to me. It does indeed look very much like the crystal sphere of Iris's hood. But I need remind you that she was not wearing her hood that night. Each nun is assigned their own hood, and they are assigned only one. I don't know anything about that, and Iris is special, right, dude? Even if she did steal a spare hood, I'll forgive her. This is getting us nowhere. Our destination for the day it seems. Well, this is getting us nowhere. Our destination for the day it seems.
However, this crystal sphere was found near the bridge. That is a fact. If it didn't come from the hood, where did it come from?
That is the question I aim to answer. After all, no one could have lost a crystal sphere that night. I think that's probably the statement we're going to be presenting something on. Let me confirm this one last time, Larry. The reasons you thought that this was Iris are the blood and this crystal sphere, correct? That's right, my gut is never wrong. I met that old bikini the next morning. And her crystal sphere was still there, safe and sound.
Indeed. She was wearing it in this very room earlier today.
This case isn't going to end without a fight. Exposing the obvious contradictions in his testimony will be easy. But I fear that all awaits us. I fear that all that awaits us are further mysteries. When I reached Dusky Bridge, she was already gone. I was so worried I frantically searched all over for her. And led me to finding a beautiful crystal sphere half buried in the snow. No, okay, but it's going further. After all, no one could have lost a sphere that night. I either have to present the victim's staff, or Elise Denim, because if I remember correctly, Elise also had a ball and we couldn't find that. So I'm going to present her and hope. Thank you. It made close enough sense. Larry. At night there was someone. Someone who had lost a crystal sphere. There was? Who? Who was this stupid idiot? Miss Elise Denim, a mentor to a stupid idiot. The victim? I have a photo shoot of her here. And on the end of her staff, you can see a familiar-looking crystal sphere. Hey! That's my photograph. Give it back. Ouch! A crystal sphere like that is quite easy to find. I have one just like it on my brooch. They look nothing alike. In any case, please take a look at this. There's a victim's staff found at the scene of the crime. Well, this is the victim's staff seen at the scene of the crime.
Ah, the crystal sphere. It's gone.
What? 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 What?
Just what does this mean?
If anyone jumped or flew across that bridge that night, it certainly was not Iris, after all. She was not wearing her hood. More importantly, the crystal sphere found at the landing site was not hers either. That means...
That means the one who flew and dropped the sphere was the victim, Miss Elise Denim.
A fool alongside another fool on a fool's errand to reach a foolish conclusion. First of all, this sketch, which I prefer to call scribble, is ridiculous. People cannot fly, thus it is rejected. You can't do that. I saw it. Ah! And this crystal sphere. And this is nothing more than a red herring.
You honestly believe that?
Give it some thought, and I'm sure you'll realize it as well, Miles Edgeworth. Elise Denim was in her room on the night of the murder. There was no reason for her to go to Dusky Bridge. Therefore, this sphere cannot be related to this case. That is all.
Miss Francisca von Karma, or Ms. Francisca von Karma. The only people who will accept that explanation are scatterbrains and clowns.
Why are you pointing at me?
The victim's crystal sphere was found near the bridge on the night of her murder. Did you expect us to believe that you had nothing to do with this case? Well, do you expect us to believe this had nothing to do with the case?
That crystal sphere? It was probably thrown away at the bridge after the murder.
After the murder?
There is blood on the crystal sphere, isn't there? That naturally suggests that it was thrown away after the murder took place. The killer placed it here to throw the investigation off the scent, which is the exact same reason that he drew that ridiculous sketch. What? You mean, I'm the killer? No way, All joking aside, just when did this crystal sphere appear near the foot of the bridge? Unless this can be proven in some way, I refuse to believe this is related to the case.
She does make a valid point. There's no evidence that Elise Denim left Hazakura Temple that night. However, if somehow this crystal sphere can be proven to be dropped before the victim was killed, then this case is going to transform into something else entirely.
Your response, Mr. Edgeworth. I want your final opinion on this disposition of this crystal sphere. If it is not related to the case, then this witness who you called will have been nothing more than a monumental waste of time.
Prepare yourself for some very appropriate punishment, Miles Edgeworth.
Can I prove it? Can I prove that this crystal sphere was dropped before the murder took place? I believe I'm going to have to, aren't I? Because I'm going to have to pick yes I can, otherwise I'm screwed because Phoenix is relying on me and everything. I'm going to have to make a bunch of BS assumptions and get my way through this somehow. Okay, let's do it. Can I prove it? That isn't the issue. To simply prove it, that's the only option. There is no try, there is only do. Ripping off Star Wars, I'd say. That's what he'd do. That's the way Phoenix Wright would do this. Your Honor, allow me to prove something to you. I will prove that this crystal sphere is a vital link to solving the case.
You will do what?
That look in your eyes, you remind me of Phoenix Wright when he is cornered.
That should come as no surprise. Because right now, I am Phoenix Wright, and I am indeed cornered.
I order you to present your evidence, Mr. Edgeworth. Evidence that proves that the crystal sphere was indeed dropped before the murder.
Give me a second, I'm thinking. I'm thinking about everything. Just thinking about every single
bit of evidence. There's nothing at the moment reaching out at me and thinking what would work. Proves that the crystal sphere was indeed dropped before the murder. Indeed was dropped before the murder. Well, It clearly, it's pointing me towards the crime photo, but I'm trying to think of anything else. Half covered in the snow, just keep bridging the night of the crime. I'm just trying to think of how can I prove it. You know what I mean? Evidence that proves that this crystal sphere was indeed dropped before the murder. I think it's the crime photo because if it's half buried in the snow, it means it would have been still snowing. So we've already proved that this thing has been snowing. Or it was stopped. When the murder took place, it was snowing. If that makes sense. I'm right anyway. I'm just hoping I'm right. I looked out again. My reasoning is because it's half buried in the snow. It was still snowing at that time, whereas the murder, or the suspected murder, was taken after it stopped snowing. Hence, no snow. So I think I'm right in that sort of ballpark. Yes, no, maybe so. There's nothing else that makes sense to me other than the weather report I could have probably presented as well if this hadn't worked. Anyway, this crystal sphere is half buried in the snow, correct? That's right. If it hadn't stopped snowing, it'd have been over. The snow would have completely covered it. That's all I needed to hear, Larry. God damn it, I'm sorry, I'm having connection issues. That's why if you ever hear me clicking, it's me trying to sort something out or figuring out with OBS and playing around with it to make sure. Either that or I'm just looking at chat. Because I have to overlap them. That's all I needed to hear from you, Larry. Your testimony makes one thing quite clear. What? When the crystal sphere was dropped, it was snowing, even if it was so ever slightly. Snowing? On the other hand, let us look at the scene of the murder. As proven today, yeah, okay, and I am right. As proven earlier today, there was no snow on the victim's body. Ah. Therefore, the crystal sphere must have been dropped before the murder. What?
Well, I guess did I redeem myself for my earlier cock-up by actually proving exactly right what I said?
Hold her, hold her, hold her.
On the night of the murder, the victim did indeed go to Dusky Bridge, and there, something occurred that caused the staff's crystal sphere to come loose.
What? What could that have been?
The sphere, there is some blood on it, isn't there? Allow me to raise a certain possibility at this junction. The real crime was near the foot of Dusky Bridge.
The murder didn't take place in the Hazakura Temple courtyard? Only a fool would suggest such a foolish piece of absolute foolishness.
Just who is the fool, and which part is so foolish, Miss Von Karma?
Have you been paying attention this whole time, Mr. Edgeworth? Or Miles Edgeworth? The sister saw everything. She saw the victim being killed by the defendant in Hazakura Temple courtyard.
Oh, I don't think so. I believe it was staged. That's not exactly true now, is it? To put it more precisely, what she saw was the murder weapon being removed from the victim's body.
That's the same thing.
No, it isn't. You said it yourself.
Very little blood is actually lost at the moment of the blade's insertion. If you want to talk about when most blood would have been lost from a body, That would be when the blade was removed.
If that statement is the truth, then Dusky Bridge could very easily be the scene of the murder. The murder weapon was not removed, thus there was no bleeding.
You're forgetting one vital thing, Mr. Edgeworth, or Miles Edgeworth.
You call him Mr. Edgeworth, I'm so used to it.
At least Nim's body was found in Hazakura Temple. On foot, it takes about 15 minutes to travel from Dusky Bridge to Hazakura Temple. You mean to suggest someone carried the body all that way?
Yep. I admit it this far, though the only place to take it is to the end. I just need to prove that my version of events is also perfectly plausible.
Now the defense is ready, the court would like to hear an explanation. Please show us the method which the victim's body was carried to Hazakura Temple.
Where is the photo of the tracks? Bada bing, bada boom. It was carried by the snowmobile. On that snowy night, there is only one way that this body could have been moved. The snowmobile. As we know, the snowmobile, Let's try and get it out eventually. As we know, the snowmobile was used that night. It explains us having been used to dispose. It was explained as having been used to dispose of the murder weapon. But it also could have been used to carry a body. And because there's only one set of tracks going back, it lends credence to such.
Hold her.
Gah!
This is completely unacceptable, Miles Edgeworth. You've dug yourself into your own grave.
What do you mean?
The only one who could have used the snowmobile was the defendant. She's the one who moved the body. Doesn't that put the final nail in your coffin?
You're too late, Francisca von Karma. And in fact, the defense has proven something else entirely. We have shown that this case requires further investigation.
What?
Where was the victim Elise de Nim really killed? If her body was moved, whatever for? And finally, what does this image mean?
Do you even need to think about that? Such a creature could never see the truth, let alone describe it.
This witness certainly sits on one of the lowest possible branches of humanity. However, he would never utter a lie that could hurt a girl with whom he is enamored. He drew this, so it is something that actually happened. The defense stands firm on this point.
Edgy. Thank you.
That settles it then. I cannot give a verdict under these circumstances.
Right. I seem to have fulfilled my part in this. It's just as I thought. Francisca von Karma, you make a wonderful partner.
Excuse me?
There was one reason alone for me being here, to expose the darkness lurking in this case, and then pass it on to Wright.
Really? That's what this is all about? You could have just told me that from the very beginning. Then I wouldn't have had my Frezzy whipping up. Wow. Miles Edgeworth, I don't care what you were here to do. This is my chance to finally grind you under my heel.
A shame that your chance seems to have slipped you by.
What a shame, Franzi. This is all your fault. This is all your fault. Such a terrible witness. You're an affront to all the legal system stands for. Yeah, ow. I demand satisfaction.
I cannot believe that the witness's testimony relates to an actual event. However, there has to be some sort of answer for the questions it raises. Have his words here today been the truth or lies? Next time we gather in this courtroom, Those are the matters that shall be addressed. I am continuing on thorough investigations by both... I'm counting on thorough investigations by both the defense and the prosecution.
And with this, the rest is up to you, Wright.
Court is now adjourned.
Well, we extended it to a day at least. But we do have a... Well, we made a few errors, but we got through it at least without having to save again. Or save state. Hopefully, we'll be able to gain our health back, and hopefully Wright can carry the trial that Edgeworth so valiantly defended. But for now, I want to thank you guys for watching. For people on Twitch, I'll just get archived to YouTube, BitChute, and Rumble. There should be links in the About section if you want to check those out, or if you ever miss a stream. People on those platforms I've just mentioned, this was all streamed live from Twitch. You ever want to watch live and interact like I have been doing today, you are more than welcome to. There should be a link to the Twitch channel, or any other platform you wish to watch me on, in the description of every video that I do. And without further ado, I forgot. Please like, comment, subscribe, all the good stuff. It helps me in the algorithm, and I do interact with the comments when I can. Now, without further ado, I'd like to thank you guys for watching one final time, and bye-bye.